let's just kind of get to this. I'm probably not going to. I'm just going to try to do this pretty quickly. Since it's pretty late, I don't feel like time stamping. I don't know if I can spend 30 minutes on this stuff or 35 doing everything. So let's just get into it. So let's just kind of go over. I'll go over what happened today real quick, from my point of view, anyway. And they seem. We'll see where we start, and then I'll kind of show. We'll see. I'll show where I think, and we'll see where we start tomorrow. So anyway, like here, we start, we range. If we end too far, it's oversell. If we start too high up, it's overbuying, right? We want to come back down and get some support. Another thing we can kind of notice if we see this right here, this is also another thing to note. This is one of the only relative time frames around us. We have the 30, see the 15's nowhere to be found. The 5's around here, 2, 4, nothing else is around here. Obviously the day is here also, but that's up at where we have the day 200. So starting out here, we got our 30. We push up. I mean, I was surprised it turned around. I didn't see in the morning that there was the 1 hour here. That would have made a lot more sense, provided a lot more context. But anyway, we're overbought. So from a 30-minute perspective, anyway, since these are the relative time frames, it made sense that we got pushed down. Um, you know, and I mean, you could take profits here. You never really know what's going to happen. This is where you would get in. And so the kind of issue with this is like, right, we're so far away from the target. So we push down, we push down. Well, this is overselling now. If we want to push, we want to start somewhere around here, push up, and then push down. So not only right here did we we pushed down a little bit far. This does look like it pushed up, then maybe it pushed down, but that's not what happened. They switched over, more overselling. They try to push it down again, up, ended here. So I don't think any of this was like really a big deal or anything like that. Way to get out of this position for me, I think would have been here. The ultimate range of what we're messing with is here anyway. So how much should you really expect? So anyway, we can see this, and then we see this right here, another possible entry point. But a lot of this really came around the 1 o'clock time frame, or the 1 hour change at 12:30 right here. And then we can also see on the NDQ, we can also see the same thing as well. So two buy signals, one on the Apple, or one on Apple, one on the NASDAQ right there. Then we pushed up into here. And I don't really know why per se. I mean, I'm glad that we started under, so I think that gives us a pretty decent chance to pop back up, get some of these last minute people out, maybe bring in some new shorters. If we can start in a nice position, that would be great. It looks like right now with the NASDAQ skilling that's open 23.5 is a little bit concerning what it's doing right here. I'm going to be honest, on this time frame, that is a little bit concerning. We'll see what happens. And I also don't like, even obviously this is still when the market's closed, but I don't like the same thing here. I'm not a big fan that we didn't turn around, come back down, or just hold a little bit more in this area. So that is a little bit concerning. On the day time frame for the skilling, the biggest thing that concerns me will be this. We do have a strong candle right here. It is I'm not sure how strong it's supposed to be when we have a candle like this and then this. I mean, generally, just with this candle, I'd imagine we try to push up. But the overall thing is like candlesticks are candlesticks. Candlestick pattern's one thing, but candlestick is just one candlestick. So it doesn't we're going to have to run into this. So the fact we're pushing up seems already fine enough. This has done its job. I don't know if it's going to get us through this, which is what I think overall is the issue. And even on a day time frame, I'd like to see this start a day, somewhere around here and turn over. So we'll see what happens today. I don't think anything looks super secure. Even from Bitcoin, I don't think anything looks super secure. It's this is our range before we start finding real resistance. It's not really that far away. We know the entry point was down there. A safe bet, if we want to call it that, a safe bet was down here. It's not gambling, it's a bet, right? So a safe bet was down here. We're already pretty close to this, so we'll have to see what happens. And I think like I said before, the strongest stuff comes if we can get up to this 22.5 area by late October. So, or mid-October, I'm sorry, somewhere by like early mid-October, preferably the later, but somewhere between, or like mid-October. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't want to, I'm not even going to try to diagnose this. I'm just going to do a quick overview. So one thing I was interested in is where are we going to start? And I don't know how to even trust this. So this is another example of how we push way too far through, we come through. This is a little bit of a wild card pushing through right here. I don't really get that. That's like a little yikers. I don't really fully understand. I checked at 7 and we were up here. So this switches over. It's at 7 o'clock from my time anyway, UTC -4. So I checked this at 7 and I'm like, what the heck is going on? This doesn't make any sense. And we see this, but it's like, well, this is 8 o'clock and this is 7:30, and where is my 7 o'clock? This is supposed to be closed, unless I'm crazy. And this opens at 8 o'clock, which I'm pretty sure it doesn't. See how we close this here is 6, and it's supposed to be, to my knowledge, closed for 1 hour. So I don't understand why we then open an hour and 45 minutes later. So, I mean, we're not going to see. I don't know what happened with this. I don't know why there was a whole bunch of buying or what. I do know is that from a TA perspective, looking at the candlestick, because it was closed, it wasn't able to. Well, technically, maybe it would have opened here anyway. Maybe that's possible, but um, they certainly made it difficult to be able to be something. This could have looked pretty nice. That the long story short. So I don't know what was going on with that. That's super weird. Even the sell up is, or the buy up is super weird on it. So let's just kind of go into Apple. We just looked at the dollar. I don't know what's going on with some of the stuff. It's very funky, very odd. So just the standard. I like when stuff starts out. I like when stuff ends out and starts in. So like this is an example. I like when this starts out, or this ends in and starts out. Anything like that, right? We had this, and then we hit here. We had to fight our way to get out of this area. Then we ended out, and then boom. So I like the fact. So this is like overselling in a sense. We're not exiting the range. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So I like that this ends out. I like this ends up here. I like that this starts in here. This is like it's got to fight its way. It's got to fight its way. I'm not a big fan of this, as always, as I've been saying 20 million times. Maybe we'll see something like this again. I hope not, because it's seeming very bear trappy. I mean, if we can get if we can get past this area, then sure. Um, there's just so much weakness down here that's been created that it seems pretty tough. So let's just kind of get to it. We'll see where stuff is, and like once everything's open, it's 10 times easier. So I'm not really worried about any of this crap. I don't care. This is good. This is bad. Geez, this is gonna be pretty tough. This is bad. This is really good. Or this is really good. This is good. This is bad. This is bad. Like, we don't want to start at the tops of any of these ranges. So if we start at the bottom of this range, I still think this is perfectly fine. We can just refer to the 30 minutes here, bring them down here. So these 30 minutes are right here. It's going to be a pretty big sell down. If anyone wants to try to have like a gap up, that pretty much pushes us right past these 30s, at least gives us a decent amount of buys. We're also going to see the 1 hour coming down on us. This is why I like this also. So we'll see. But like on Friday, so that's going to be the 1 hour right here. So it gives us some pretty decent places that we can break up through this. So this would be boom, boom, or if we could break up into here, then push back up. But we have so much room. This is such a strong base right here at 142.65. We might even be able to see it. I don't know if it'll show that strong. We'll have to see. I don't know if it'll really show that strong. I know in the short term we've seen a decent amount there. Um, so it's just kind of a shame to skip past it, I guess, in a sense. And this is kind of like part of the issue I'm getting at. And so if we look over here on the left, this is where we are right now. And then we have all this. This is why I really don't want to push up into this area. We've had a lot of action go on here. This is pretty much right up in here. That's why I really don't want to see it. If we get to that 152, that brings us up here. And if we ever need to fight or whatever next week, great, we can start up here next week. And then if we drop through the week, we can get some bouncing and push through. I think that's perfectly fine. Now, if we look at this section over here on the right, 142 is pretty much the max right here. It's this max point, which is why I really like 142.65. So I don't see why we can't come down here. And if we look at these areas right here, it's just like it's just a lot better. It's just a lot better. We have so much less volume overall in these areas, and there's just a lot more that like just there's no reason for this to get sold down unless it comes back up to 145 again. And so it looks like easy support here, free space above where we are right now, and that's essentially where this translates to is where we're just looking at. where I was saying I think it's still fine if I'd doubt it, but I think it's still fine if we start all the way down here. And we can even see it from this perspective. Free space, pretty much just straight selling. Mostly here, just straight buying or straight selling. We have another gap here also. And this whole place is reinforced. Um, just like I didn't really expect this to push and stay up here today, or like I didn't really. I mean, it could push up if it want to. I just didn't expect it to like stay through on the day. I don't expect this to push through down through here on the day either, or and actually hold. So from that same perspective, like we can come down here, sure, we can drop through, but I mean, there's just you're not. I just don't see it on that day. It just seems so much more bullish if we start here or here at the bottom of these ranges. At the one range, like I said before, essentially being like here, and the other range being here. So if we start towards the bottoms of these, it looks pretty nice. The tops of these ranges, I don't like it as much, and I think we'll just have to play it by ear. I still think it's fine if we start somewhere here or here. It's just one of those things I can't say the specific direction. I think it's going to be a little bit too hard to figure out the specific direction for it. But I don't think it's going to fall off a cliff by any means. Now, I don't think this is the best place to start because we're pretty heavily weighted here, and pushing up is going to have a little bit of extra pressure down. So that might mean most of the day then trends down, and then Friday we trend back up, set something up for next week possibly, which could look pretty decent also as well. If we were to be somewhere down here, we start another week. Why not? Why can't we push up at least to hit that 148? Overall, this looks like a decent target to just try to hit regardless of anything else going on in the short term. A couple things for the VIX. It's not open now. This is a concern. We do have our weeks down here at 25.69 and 25.15. And we do have this down here. I think the most beneficial thing right now for the market in a bullish sense is a couple things. One, we could look at this like boom, boom, like some sort of head forming, and then maybe we could assume maybe we come down here or anywhere under this area. Anything under this area, even if it's just for a bounce, brings the market or brings the VIX into danger territory of falling down, because just any opportunity to get stuck under these days and in this range is really bad. Ultimate or like good for the market, but bad for the VIX. And ultimately, ending a week under the week time frame is really bad, depending on where it does it. If it's too far away, it could definitely try to come back. So I mean, we could see some sort of like shoulder head and like some right kind of shoulder here, but that brings us into a really dangerous territory. Also, as well, we can see on a shorter term, this is butt ugly. I don't know what this has been doing. The market's been going up pretty well considering everything. So I don't know why this is doing this. So this this price action here could prove to be an issue, trying to bounce and come back up. So the way that it comes down to this, I think, is going to be pretty interesting. Overall, there is a lot of price action on the VIX in this area to support anything coming down, which is kind of another issue I have. So we'll see what happens with stuff. It seems pretty reluctant to drop. I think the quicker it drops, the better for the VIX to try to shoot back up. But it's definitely been fighting. And if we see one of these other days, I think it was September 30th where we like dropped in the market. Like what the heck? We just have a doji here. Why? Like why? I don't get this whatsoever at all. And then we start all the way up. It's just some really weird stuff, to me anyway, considering that we kind of followed this pretty spot on for most of the time. Almost everything around here we were pretty spot on for. So that's a couple interesting things with the VIX. USD WTI looks like it's still super sold. The one thing I if we want this to go up, the one thing I don't like about this is we're already getting back into this chunk right over here. We never came back and touched this. Let me adjust this. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I don't know. I had two lines there, but anyway, um, I would have much preferred us to come back here. It's not a huge thing, right? We have the wick here. I would have much preferred it to come back and actually touch the line before it pushed up. I don't see why it couldn't. It did something similar right here. I mean, almost arguably the same, ended at the same place, but this actually came back down. So we'll see what happens with this. We could see something that works its way down and then just really top heavy and breaks back under this. So I'm not a huge fan of where it is right now. If the market pushes up, there's definitely a high chance this could push up just because of the dollar pushing down. Of course, there's the other OPEC stuff. We do have, like we said before, the month started in a somewhat weak position, or It's not super strong. Doesn't mean it's going to come down, but if it gets tested, it might get tested pretty hard. So we did start under the month here for this. We did have an extension down to the left, so we did have some price action to kind of push this up. So it's not like horrible. Otherwise, usually things that start here just fall down. Now, this also goes with the market, so it's kind of tough because, the relationship of the market and the dollar. So we can see a little bit of weakness here also as well. So we'll see whether this stuff comes back down and gets tested on a week time frame. Are we going to come back down to test? The place to have like confirmation is still under the day here. We have a while until the month turns over, so we'll see what happens there also as well. It just seems pretty I don't know, it seems pretty overbought in my opinion for what it is right now. So that'll be pretty interesting to see. I don't know if this is going to be an indicator for the market as well. Maybe this comes down, that means the market might come down a little bit too. Personally, I'm not really that worried about it until we get a day that starts under this day 200. It was pretty reluctant. We can probably see this a little bit better. I think the reason I had this line here, it's probably when I was streaming earlier, I was looking at it like this. So if we put this line here as a representation, we can see just a lot more what this line was and how it was respecting it a good amount. And some of these places here, here with the turn under and then the fall down, we're seeing as resistance here, and also there as well. So let me actually go back and there we go. Okay. I don't know if I really want to look at anything else. Hang Seng was pretty standard. It pushed back up. There's no real surprise there. We ended the month oversold. Now we have a new month down here, and we're getting bought all the way back up. So the real test kind of starts now. This is all really just free space for something like the Hang Seng. This is, like I said before, is the first time we've ever been under the month 200 smooth. So I would like to at least see a week above here. It looks like it's a decent amount of space to kind of work with before it really starts hitting a lot of stuff, though, over here. Whatever. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. But I could still see it trying to push up. I don't think it's like screwed or anything like that. Of course, point of weakness here also as well. They got pretty lucky considering everything that happened that they are able to make their way back up, and whatever the UK markets, it kind of is what it is. They just got lucky, but nothing's really out of the woods yet. It'll be interesting to see where we start next week. And I think that's about it. I don't really want to go. I guess I can go tomorrow. That's kind of interesting. For Mara, we'll see what happens with this. I mean, to me, we've already played the range more or less, which was any of these two places starting from the day, right? Because we start above, we hit where yeah, excuse me, start above, sell down, boom. We start above, come down, hit a little bit lower extension, and then obviously we get that sell up that was on the third. So things were pretty sketchy here. Could have waited also on this day. We did. There was ways to see this while the market was open. So like I said, it's hard to guess everything before it happens. So I'm not going to try to be like a guru on everything, or not a guru. It's not being a guru. It's being a fortune teller. It's too much work. So yeah, that's pretty much that. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:15. Sorry about the late video. I hope you guys were able to get something out of this. I know a lot of people that watch this aren't from the States or aren't like in the United States, so that's probably fine then. There's a decent chance you'll see this in the morning before the US stock markets even open and you do your trades. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care and have a good night.